Chapter 2. The Escape. Anna was sitting in a cozy airplane seat. The aluminum bird was moving slowly along the runway, preparing for takeoff. The cabin was quiet and cozy. The lights were dimmed, which created the atmosphere of an evening living room. The girl completely gave herself up to her unconscious mental flow, exhaling a busy day. Moscow. I live in Moscow. I wanted it so much. I dreamed that I would be happy to walk along these streets, and here I am, and what? Fuss, noise, haste, sales, purchases, plans and endless masses of people. The girl thought, then indifferently looking out the window, then aimlessly wandering her gaze over the tops of the seats and the passengers sitting nearby. Across the aisle, to her left, she noticed a married couple with a child. The baby fidgeted in the arms of his parents, not wanting to stay in one place. The young father was sitting on the edge. Anna noticed his dark, long hair, scattered over his broad shoulders. She really liked long-haired men, and, involuntarily admiring them, Anya smiled slightly. Suddenly the guy turned around and looked at her with his bright big eyes. From this unexpected look, the girl shuddered and lowered her eyelashes. Happy, thought Anya, turning away to the window and sadly realizing that she does not have such happiness, but how she would like it. The glass of the porthole reflected her tired face with soft, refined features. Arched brown eyebrows framed her light brown eyes expressively. Anna took a tube of glitter out of her pocket and ran a brush over her plump, dry lips. Looking at the lights located on the runway, in the reflection of the window, the girl caught the gaze of her neighbor. He was a man of about 60 with a long gray beard. Anya noticed how he was looking at her intently. Well, stop staring at me. She mentally growled and abruptly leaned back in her chair, surprised at her own anger. The lights in the cabin went out, the turbines hummed, and the machine jerked forward sharply. Anna woke up from sharp fluctuations. Apparently, the plane was flying through a zone of turbulence, which woke up many passengers. Wow, the girl thought, it's like I've fallen somewhere. I don't even remember falling asleep. She turned in the direction of her neighbor. The man was dozing, his head thrown back. Anna cast a sleepy glance down the aisle. Excited flight attendants fussily drove a swaying cart filled with food to the place of its deployment. Apparently, dinner will be delayed, the girl realized with annoyance and turned her attention to the porthole. It was pitch dark outside the window, and the internal lighting of the plane did not allow her to see anything there. Am I in prison? She jokingly thought. Natural impulses did not allow her to develop such a philosophical thought, and Anna had to wake up her neighbor with a meek, apologetic tone. After visiting the cherished room, she decided to look at the staff. When she saw that the girls had prepared the cart for moving again, she cheered up, as she was already hungry enough. Anya asked them for water and specified the time of arrival. There were still 11 hours to fly. Having quenched her thirst and curiosity, the girl moved to her seat, thinking about what to do with herself before dinner. Seeing her, the bearded neighbor fussily got up from his seat, letting the hitchhiker go ahead. One seat between them was empty, which suited Anna quite well, since in recent years she had become a terrible social phobe. Please, the man said politely, extending a plump hand in the direction of her chair. His voice seemed surprisingly pleasant to the girl. Thank you, Anna smiled sweetly. As she sat down, she glanced at him curiously. The man clumsily plopped down on the seat, reminding her of a big bear. How funny, the girl thought. The bear looked in her direction and, with a slight smile, introduced himself. Alexey Vladimirovich. Anna, she answered, embarrassed. As I understand it, you are also interested in the hot country where we are flying now. Quite. Anya answered and after a second added. They say that it is very colorful and fun there. And Cuba also had friendly relations with us not so long ago, which affected their life and architecture, the girl continued, who had made some inquiries about the hot country in advance. "Oh, yes." Alexey Vladimirovich smiled. The friendship of the USSR and Cuba has greatly affected the latter. They still drive our Soviet cars there, Zhiguli, Moskvish. What are you doing? How cute. Anna laughed. They probably have all fallen apart there already? Well, not really. Cubans are very fond of Russian cars and take good care of them. Plus, the climate there is quite dry. Cars practically do not rust. You say that as if you live there? The interlocutor noticed. That's right. I have been living in Cuba for more than 20 years. She's like my own, the fellow traveler said with love in his voice. So you are a Cuban, then? No. It is difficult for people from other countries to obtain citizenship in Cuba. But I love Cuba as my own. My wife and children and I moved there in the 90s. As a result, we stayed in Cuba, and our sons returned to Moscow. Now they are doing their business here. They like it better in Russia, they have got families, and we come and visit. Yes, and they look in on us. The cabin smelled delicious food. The cherished cart slowly moved along the aisle, causing a rumbling in the girl's stomach. Standing up, she cast an impatient glance at the coveted object, assessing how many more meters remained to their row. They'll be here soon, said Alexey Vladimirovich, turning his big grey head in the direction of the cart. A couple of minutes, and we will be full. Anna smiled tightly and returned to her chair. And what do you do in Cuba? I read briefly that this is a poor communist country. There is no abundance of food in stores, medicines, clothes. The Siberian woman continued the dialogue. Yes, Cuba is a poor country. However, not everything is as bad as they say. She has her own beauty, her own unique charm, from which my wife and I personally could not tear ourselves away. I am diving on Varadero, where we are actually flying now. Wow! Are you a diver? Yes, the man replied with satisfaction. How interesting. Is it difficult? What is needed for this? Anna perked up. First you need a desire, of course, Alexey Vladimirovich laughed. In general, this is a real sport, if you take it seriously. Although for a trial dive in shallow water, you need quite a bit. The bear smiled slyly, looking Anna straight in the eyes, and added. Do you want to look at the ocean from the inside? The girl lit up. Yes, I would like to try it. All right, Alexey Vladimirovich replied. Then here's my number for you. He pulled out a white business card in English from his pocket and handed it to the girl. We are on the edge of the spit, where the submarine docks. As you decide, call. Thank you, Anna said, taking the cheaply designed card. And you, as I understand it, are on vacation? The neighbor asked good-naturedly. Yes, it's my birthday tomorrow, and I wanted to celebrate it in Cuba. Oh. So you're almost a birthday girl? The man exclaimed, surprised. Then as a gift from me, a trial dive in shallow water will be free for you. The bear smiled contentedly and stroked his beard importantly. Anna broke into a smile. She did not expect such a gift. Thank you very much, she exclaimed, beaming. The flight attendants served dinner. Did Anna find the pasta with sausages very tasty, or was she just very hungry? Anna, have you been to the Atlantic Ocean before? Alexey Vladimirovich asked, actively chewing buckwheat with meat. The girl hesitated for a second. Yes, I was in the Canary Islands, she muttered, swallowing her food. Hot Spain. I can imagine how beautiful it is there. Yes, very much. It's very beautiful, Anya continued. So affectionate and clean. I also remember that sometimes the waves were higher than me, although I was only waist deep in water. I had to constantly jump through them, as if through a rope, the girl recalled with a slight smile. Alexey Vladimirovich carefully handed her a glass of tomato juice. Interesting, the fellow traveler continued. I have not been to the Canary Islands, but I have heard that the flora and fauna there are magnificent and that it is a little warmer there than here. I don't know about warmer, I still have nothing to compare it with, Anna answered after drinking a significant part of the red drink from a paper cup, but you're right, the places there are fantastic. The Canary Islands have a volcanic nature. Stunningly beautiful mountains, jungles, the ocean, the girl shone more and more. By the way, the ocean is especially beautiful there at night. A huge moon hangs over the water like a spaceship. And in general, I had a feeling of home there. Anna paused, her eyes clinging to the disk of the moon visible in the night window. She remembered how in the evening, being in the Canaries, wandering along the coastline, she felt that she was at home. She felt that this place was familiar to her to the core. Standing on the shore and admiring the smoothly outlined horizon line, the girl reveled in the liquid sunset and talked to the ocean. Yes. I was talking to him. It's unthinkable, but Anya heard his voice and felt with all her heart that she definitely once lived here. It was a strange feeling, the sun was slowly sliding into the water, and she wanted not to run, but to swim after him. She dreamed that she was floating in the ocean sunset waters and there was someone else next to her. What was the young traveler thinking about? A pleasant male voice suddenly sounded in her memories. And the girl returned to reality. Oh, yes. I just remembered how good it was for me there, on the shore of the Atlantic Ocean. And even then it seemed to me that there is definitely intelligent life in its waters, Anya answered dreamily and turned her gaze to the remnants of tomato juice smeared on the walls of the cup. There are a lot of legends about underwater inhabitants, Alexey Vladimirovich carefully picked up her frank dialogue. They say that an ancient underwater civilization lives in the depths of the world ocean, where no man has ever descended before. But perhaps these are only the fantasies of ardent writers and inventors, the bear continued, stroking his beard. In general, he often stroked his beard, as if he found some kind of support or comfort in it. Anna finished the last sip of the thick drink and deliberately said loudly, lifting her chin. Well, well. So, we need to dive into the ocean and check who still lives there? The girl smiled and gave an intricate look at the interlocutor, and then at the flight attendant, handing her an empty cup. Alexey Vladimirovich amiably agreed with her with a nod of his head. What do you want? Tea, coffee. A smiling blonde in a blue uniform intruded into their conversation. Tea with milk, please, Anna gestured. The bear carefully handed her the tea, and took black coffee for himself.